Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited about the video today. I will be showing you guys these super gorgeous Valentine's nails using a Polygel set by Makartt. So I'm going to start off as always with clean nails. And I do have a little bit of product left on, as I always do, just to protect my natural nails. So I'm going to start off with some prep. I'm using a fine grit sanding band on a very slow speed on my e-file, and I'm just going to use this to prep my natural nail plate. So for my prep, what I do is I go up one side wall across the back of the cuticle to remove any dead skin that might still be attached to the nail plate, then down the other side wall, and then just very gently with the belly of my bit, I work my way across the plate of the nail. I'm just making sure I smooth out any leftover product that I have had on previously and removing the natural shine all at the same time. I'm kind of working backwards for what I normally would do because I'm working in reverse as I am working on my dominant hand. So I'm working left-handed in this video. I will say I'm pretty proud of myself for how good I've gotten using my left hand. You guys will see it's a lot better than some of my old videos.
Hey, this is Zach. Be sure to hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss out when Chal uploads new videos. And when you hit subscribe, you'll be part of her polished pride.
So I do all of my prep with my e-file, but I know not all of you guys have an e-file, so I'm going to show you how I use a 180 grit zebra hand file to prep on my pinky nail. So I'm basically going to take the edge of the file and work it right back in that cuticle area and down the side walls. I have prepped my hand file previously, so when I say prep, or seasoned, it means I'm taking an old file and running it along the very sides of the new file, and that helps to soften the sides. That way you're not going to cut yourself or hurt yourself in any way, and you can tuck really close into that cuticle area and get all of the dead skin and shine removed from the natural nail. And then I just very gently work across the nail plate, again smoothing out any remaining product and removing that shine. Then I'm just going to use my manicure brush with some swipe to dehydrate and further prep my nail plates. Now I'm just going to go ahead and apply my nail tips as I always do. These are the Universal Nail Tips by Not Polish. They are my favorite tips that I ever use. You guys see me use them all the time because they're a very long stiletto. When you cut them down, they become a very beautiful coffin, or if you cut them short, they are a beautiful tapered square. I do have a 10% off discount with Not Polish. My code is KING10, and that will be linked down below as always for you guys. I'm just going to use a little bit of glue on the very edge of the tip, and then I'm going to apply that right on the edge of my natural nail. You want to cover as little of the natural nail as possible without covering more than 1/3 of your nail plate, and making sure that your tips are sized correctly, going from sidewall to sidewall. Now on my pointer, it was a little bit too big for the nail, and I didn't file down the edges to size it up properly on purpose. I'll show you guys here on the next nail on my ring finger. The tip was a little bit too big, and so you use your hand file to kind of file down the edges a little bit because the next size down was too small. So that way you can custom fit your tips and make sure that they are sized correctly to your nail. but I will show you on my pointer what you can do if you forgot to do that or didn't notice that it was a little bit too big. So as always, I'm going to use my straight edge nail clippers just to size the tips of the nails, and I'm kind of matching them up to my other hand, but not really. I knew I wanted them to be longer than my other hand is really what I was doing. So I was holding it up to my opposite hand just to see where I wanted to cut it, as I wanted that additional length. And I apologize, you can't really see all too well what I'm doing. It really sucks because I wanted you guys to see this so bad. Basically, in order for me to make sure I get all my nails sized the same way, I line up my cuticles and then I cut the tips to make sure they all match. So now I'm going to go in with my 180 grit peel and stick hand file, and I'm going to make sure that the sides of the tip match the sidewalls of my natural nail. And this is what I'm going to do on my pointer that's going to help correct having that overhang bit from where it was too big. Now, I did want these to be a much more skinny coffin, so I did just slim in the sides and taper it in even further. So here is where you can see where that pointer finger was hanging over on past my sidewalls. You want to make sure that you get that filed all the way up so that it matches your sidewalls correctly. Otherwise, you will get lifting. And then I'm again just going to taper that end in a bit. When I taper this in more, I at first kind of angle the file so that it goes on the outside of my finger, and then to straighten up those sidewalls, I angle it so that it is hitting the side of my nail rather than my finger. I hope that makes sense.
Blessings, blessings, blessings coming my way. Wake up every morning like it's Friday.
So now I'm just going to very gently blend in the edges of the nail tip to my natural nail without touching my nail plate. And then since we're going to be working in Polygel, I am going to remove the shine off of the nail tip, making sure that I have fully prepped that tip for the gel application. Then I will go in and do the remaining nails off camera.
Oh, they like me now. Yeah. Go ahead, wipe me down. She don't got a man, cause he ain't lock it down. Hey, do you think of me when I'm not around?
And now is the exciting part. Guys, this kit is so gorgeous. The Life of a Rose, a Polygel set by Makartt. So gorgeous. It's been a while since I said that, so I just had to throw it in there. I do want to thank Makartt for sending this over to me, and I do have a discount code with Makartt. And that code is just like my name here, painted, polished, and pretty. Excuse me, painted, polished, and pretty. It's not and, not spelled out. Anyways, I will have it linked below and on screen for you guys, along with my customized link, so that if you guys would like to order from Makartt and save 15%, that will be down there for you guys as well. I do make a small amount of commissions if you guys purchase using my code or link, and so that does help me out, and I really appreciate when you guys use my codes. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you what comes in the kit. As you saw, there is some dual forms. You have the 180 grit hand file, your Polygel brush, which has a nice firm but flexible brush on one end and a spatula on the other. Of course, you get your base coat and your top coat, and then you get 4 colors of Polygel. These each are 15 milliliters. This one I will be using in the set today. I don't wear pink on my nails or on my clothing, just in general. I don't wear pink very much, so it was quite different for me. But oh my gosh, guys, can you see how beautiful these colors are? Like, I gotta do it again. They are gorgeous. I just have to. I have to. They're so freaking pretty. So I had to go all out with the bright colors for this set. So I am going to go in and coat my nails with 2 layers of the Young Nails Protein Bond. This is going to be my primer. You can use any primer that you have, but I do suggest using 2 coats of it. And of course, I'm only applying it onto my natural nail. There's no reason to apply it onto the tip.
Instead you were moody, and you wanted me to be what you need instead of being me. Oh, and that's how I knew it. I guess I never loved you like I love me. I guess I never loved you, and that's okay with me. 'Cause someday I'll love someone like I love me. But I have to wait.
So now that I've gotten that all applied, I'm going to go in with a very thin layer of base coat. I'm just going to apply a very thin layer, and I do apply it onto the tips when I'm working with Polygel. I just find that it gives a better adhesion between the Polygel and the plastic tip, and so I just like to work it over the entire nail, including the tip. But you don't have to do that. Really, all that absolutely needs it is the natural nail. But if you want to go ahead and add that extra insurance like I do and make sure that adhesion is really there, then go ahead and cover the tip as well. Once I get these all applied, I will go ahead and give it a 60-second cure before moving in with my Polygel.
Me, I guess I never loved you, and that's okay with me. 'Cause someday I'll love someone like I love me. But I have to wait a little, and that's okay with me. Okay, okay, okay with me. Okay, and that's okay with me. I guess I never loved you like I love me. I guess I never loved you, and that's okay with me. Okay, okay with me. Okay, and that's okay with me. Okay, okay with me. Okay, and that's okay with me.
So I'm going to start my Polygel application with this absolutely beautiful, super vibrant hot pink shade, and I'm going to use this on my pointer and my pinky, but I'm only going to show you the pointer because it's the same thing. Kind of tipped my nail on the side there so you can see how thick I applied this, and actually it wasn't quite enough. There wasn't enough height at the stress area where your tip of your finger is. That's kind of like the stress area where the nail will break or crack if there is not enough product for strength and structure. So I am going to work this all out and then cure it, and I'll apply a little bit more in that stress area. Basically what I'm doing is pressing the Polygel nice and flush back at the cuticle area, getting it very tight to the skin without touching, and then making sure it is nice and flush in those sidewall areas as well. I am using a 70% alcohol as my slip solution. It is what I use for my slip solution no matter what brand of Polygel I am working with. I just find that it works the best. Some brands have a bit of like polish remover in their slip solution, which can leave white spots in the Polygel and cause like an oily residue. So I prefer to play it safe and just go with what I know, which is the 70% alcohol. I do keep my brush moist with the alcohol when working the Polygel, but I do not keep it super wet. So I dip it into the alcohol and then I dab the back of my brush off on my paper towel. And then I go in and work my Polygel. As you can see, I'm just trying to kind of pat and press the Polygel into the parts of the nail that I need it, making sure that it is covering the tip completely, and I'm smoothing it at the same time. That way I've got a nice smooth surface, and it'll make it a lot easier in the filing process. I really hope you guys can't hear that. Oh my gosh, my stomach is growling so bad. I really hope you guys can't hear it. I'm so sorry if you can. That's horrible. I haven't eaten today, and it's like 2 p.m. I know, it's horrible. I know. But like, I don't know. I had my coffee, and then I wasn't hungry, so oh well. I'll have a snack when I'm done here, I promise. So I'm just pressing the Polygel into place, making sure that I'm keeping the shape of the nail while I am doing this. So when I press it down and I kind of lose the shape, then I'm just using my brush along the edge of the nail to push and smooth the Polygel back into place. Now as I turn my nail to the side, you can see that there is a good amount of thickness, but right where the stress point is, which is at the tip of your natural fingernail, right where it kind of meets, almost kind of where the tip is glued onto your natural nail. That's your stress area, and that's where you want the bulk of your product. I have enough polygel on the rest of the nail, just not in that stress area. So I'm going to work off the little bit of excess from the tip here, and then make sure the nail is fully smoothed out. And then I will give a 60-second cure, and I'll add a little bit into that stress area. If I was going to just move on from here, if I had enough product on this nail and I was just going to move on to the next nail, I would only give it like a 20 to 30-second cure, because it'll continue to be cured as I work on the other nails. But I applied the polygel onto my pinky, and it has not been cured yet on my pinky. It's still wet. So I did a full 60-second cure on that finger, knowing that I was going to need it for me to add this second layer on. And now you can see I've got that bead of product right in that stress area, and I'm blending the edges back towards the cuticle area and down towards the tip of the nail, while leaving the bulk of the product in that stress area. I did notice while smoothing the product, it moved a little bit. So you'll see here in a minute or two that I'll flip my nail around and I will brush back towards that cuticle area, back in that opposite direction, just to make sure the product is being worked into the correct area. I'm constantly looking from the side profile, and that way I can see where the product is sitting on the nail. One thing that I love about Makartt is it's got a firmer consistency of product. Like I said, my pinky is still wet. It has not been cured. If this was a softer polygel, it would be flooding into my sidewalls, into my cuticle. It would be a mess. But because the Makartt brand has that firmer consistency, it stays where you put it. So I'm able to work this excess that I actually removed from my pinky. I'm able to work it onto my pointer finger and worry about flash curing afterwards. That way I don't have to worry about it moving around or having to cure too much. It's just a really easy product to work with, and I love it so much. I think you guys will as well. So I'm going to apply the light pink color on my ring finger in the exact same way as I did on my pointer. So I will let you guys watch as I do this.
Got me thinking about you, and I'm thinking about all the things that we used to do. Thoughts are coming in a wave, so I'll say it to your face. Better only tell the truth. Yeah, I'm trusting you. Every time you come around, make me think you my dude. Think I know you either way. Yeah, I know you want me stay. Yeah, so are you down to ride with a bitch like me? Will you come around with a bitch like me? Told you don't play around with a bitch like me, cause I've been around and you've been around. Cause I'ma keep it right for you, baby. I'ma do whatever that you say, yeah. Just don't fuck up my swagger that I have, yeah. Cause I've been around and you've been around, yeah. Cause I'm not the girl that you used to, making me smile, you're that dude. I send me out cause we're so cool. Yeah, we're so cool. I'm not the girl that you used to, making me smile, you're that dude. I send me out cause we're so cool. Yeah, we're so cool. You ask me how it's going. You act like you don't know it. You stalk me on the low key, I like it. You showing up, you showing. Can't say it, don't get lonely. Boys they come and go, babe. I'm always on the go, baby. No way to control me. Are you down to ride with a bitch like me? Will you come around with a bitch like me? Told you don't play around with a bitch like me, cause I've been around and you've been around, yeah. Cause I'ma keep it right for you, baby. I'ma do whatever that you say, yeah. Just don't fuck up my swagger that I have, yeah. Cause I've been around and you've been around. Cause I'm not the girl that you used to, making me smile, you're that dude. I send me out cause we're so cool. Yeah, we're so cool. I'm not the girl that you used to, making me smile, you're that dude. I send me out cause we're so cool. Yeah, we're so cool. Yeah, we're so cool. So keep it so cool. I see girls. So cool. broke a few hearts or two, a couple too many times. I let good things go up in flames, they blow up like dynamite. If I'm being honest, no, I got a problem. No one made me wanna change. Then there was you, it feels so new. I just wanna get this right. No, I'm not a role model. Nothing ever seems to last. Baby, now that I got it, I'll be better with you. I'll be better with you. Now that I got it. No, I'm not a role model.
Okay, so I gave that a 30-second flash cure, and now for the fun part, I'm going to show you guys how I do the French. So I start off by squeezing a bigger amount of product than you would actually need in this area, and that's because we want a nice high ledge for the reverse French technique. So I'm going to start, as I always do, by pressing the Polygel very flush in the cuticle area, so that I have a nice smooth transition onto the natural nail without causing any ledges, and it will make my filing process much, much easier. Now, normally I would work it down the side walls, but because this is a French nail, I want my French to be very deep. So I'm going to press it down into the areas that are going to be that nail bed color, but I'm going to leave it kind of lifted and that harsh ledge in the front of the Polygel where I want my smile line to be. I'm going to use my brush, keeping it moist with that alcohol. I'm going to use it to smooth and shape the smile line. I'm tucking the tip of the brush right into the very corner of that smile line so I get that nice deep French line. And then I'm just going to continue to smooth the product and work it into the shape I want. I had already done the smile line on my thumb, so I am going to try to make this one match the overall shape of the smile line that I have from my thumb, which is a lot more pointed. It comes up past the natural nail in the center and then curves back, a very slight curve. It's a lot more straight than curved, and it comes back almost to the very kind of corner of the natural nail. I hope you guys can understand what I mean just by looking at kind of what I'm doing. And you notice there I kind of look back and forth between this nail and the thumbnail. That way I can make sure that those lines match nicely. And again, I am leaving it nice and thick right at that smile line because we do need it to be really thick there, and that's why we applied excess product. We're going to file it off later, but this is how you're going to get a nice sharp smile line and a really crisp, clean French.
Someone that's on my mind. I want something that's all cool, and it don't waste my time. Yeah, I just want somebody. Just want somebody. I just want somebody to talk to. Somebody to talk to. I like to drive by myself, so I control the volume. I like to dance by myself, so I can do my own moves. No, I don't need a hand to hold tight. Don't need a love that's all mine. But sometimes I just want somebody to talk to. Someone that's on my mind. I want something that's all cool, and it don't waste my time. Yeah, I just want somebody. Just want somebody. I just want somebody to talk to.
Okay, now that I'm happy with that, I'm giving it a full 60-second cure, and I'm using some of the alcohol to rub off the sticky inhibition layer off of the Polygel. Now I'm going to use my hand file. I started out with the one that came in the set by Makartt, but I love my Tammy Taylor one so much more. It just gets the job done so much quicker. So I'm going to switch over to that, and I'm going to sharpen up the lines of the smile line. I'm going to make sure that I get this completely shaped and sharpened in the final shape. So we're not worried about the thickness from top to bottom of the nail bed color yet. All we're worried about is the smile line, making sure it is nice and sharp, very precise, exactly how we want it to be. And when I am filing the smile line, what I have noticed is that leaving the dust that's coming off the nail onto my finger, if you leave the dust, it actually works really well as like a guideline. You can kind of look from side to side to see where the dust is laying, and that will tell you, if you look straight at the nail, you can kind of see, okay, well, the dust on this side is a little farther up than on this side, so I need to bring this side down, or this side comes out a little wider, or whatever the case may be. I just find that those dust lines can be super, super helpful. Now, I will end up clearing them off to get a better overall picture later on, but while I'm filing, I like to leave them. So I want this nail bed color to be a little bit thinner, so I'm going to thin out the smile line and make it a little bit less rounded and a little bit straighter, coming up into that nice pointed tip for the extended nail bed on the French. So I'm going to let you guys watch as I continue to shape that.
And even though you broke it off, a struggle with it like you were a bottle of pills. I wish I could give in to my dependency, but I move on because I know what's bad for me. 'Cause seeing you means calling you, means all over roof again, falling for you, means sleepless nights, me in my mind, means craving the hit of you all the time. I can't even have a taste, I can't open up that game. I can't open up.
So this is coming together really nicely. Looking back and forth, they are getting to look very similar. But sometimes I do need to clean off that excess dust just to ensure that everything looks right when it's all clean and nice. So after cleaning off the thumb, you'll see that I noticed a little bit difference in where the smile line kind of ended. The very points of the smile line up at the top of the nail, back towards the cuticle area, I noticed the one side ended in a different place than the other. But I didn't notice that when the dust was there. It was when I wiped it off that I was able to see clearly what needed to be adjusted. And now that I'm filing again, I'm going to use those dust lines as guidelines to make sure that the points of the smile line end in the same area.
I can't even have a taste, I can't open up that game. I can't open up.
Okay, now that I'm happy with that, I'm just going to clean it off one more time with the alcohol. And then I'm going to go in with the red Polygel, and I'm going to squeeze it onto the tip and smooth it over the entire tip all the way up into the points of the French. This is going to give me a really nice, deep French with a beautiful smile line. Now, because the nail bed color, because there's so much excess and such a high ledge there, you don't need to worry if this color comes on top of that nail bed color, because later when we file it, it's going to just create the most crisp, clean, beautiful French nail. So you can be sloppy about it, you can be messy with it, it can come up all over the nail, and when you file it off, it's just so satisfying, honestly. The removal process to debulk that smile line, oh, it's so satisfying to watch. You'll see. So I'm just going to work this up over the tip, making sure to tuck it really nicely up into the points of the smile line.
They say a drunk mind speaks sober thoughts. So baby, what are you saying? Gotta tell me one thing. When you take them shots, but the next day you're just playing. Now baby, I don't need my time wasted.
Okay, now that I've gotten that all worked through, I'm going to use this gorgeous red glitter, and the polygel is still wet, and I'm going to use my brush and tap in the glitter and kind of create a glitter fade from the smile line down towards the tip of the nail, and the tip of the nail will be just that bare red polygel. Now this glitter does have a couple hearts in it. They don't show up as much because there's only a few of them throughout the glitter, but it's still such a gorgeous color. I actually got this one in a set at Michael's, so if you guys are looking for some awesome Valentine glitters, check out Michael's because they had some gorgeous colors.
Like I'm crazy, like I made this up, but baby, I think not. All those late night conversations when you said you want my heart, and you think I'm so amazing, you don't like being on.
So I am basically just concentrating the glitter with the bigger pieces very heavily at the smile line, making sure I tuck the glitter all the way back to the very points of the French, and then I will fade it out with some smaller pieces towards the tip of the nail. Once I get the glitter all pressed into everywhere I want it and fade it out the way I want it, only then I will go ahead and give it a full 60-second cure, which will hold all of the loose glitter into that polygel.
Tell me you love me once again, so drink it up. I wanna know what you're thinking, so drink it up. So drink it up. So drink it up.
Right, so now that has been cured, I'm going to use the clear polygel, also by Makartt, and I'm going to encapsulate the polygel and glitter that we just laid down. So I'm literally just going to work this clear polygel over where we have the red and the glitter. Again, not worrying at all if it comes up onto the nail bed color, because it's going to file away later to reveal a beautifully crisp smile line.
It's a syndicate at night, blasting playpen in the daytime. Goosebumps rise at 9 and settle back down at sunrise. Cut the cord at noon and say you'll be back soon. Tut-tut, no worries. Please get back early. Head out with champagne and dresses and let's get girly. Ta-ta, no worries. Please get back early. Head out with champagne and dresses and let's get girly. It's some booze-fueled teenage ground, running from pub to club like bloodhounds, from 10 till 6 a.m. and no one knows how to stop them. Hold the drinks I won and help the one.
So just smoothing this all out, and once I've gotten it all covered, I went ahead and gave it a 60-second cure. Look how pretty that turns out, guys. You'll see it later. It's so much prettier later. But I am going to start my filing, and I just wanted you guys to see that polygel is so soft you do not need an e-file to file it, especially since my application is nice and smooth and there's not a lot of bulk anyway. A hand file is going to be just perfect. So I shape up my sides, make sure that they're nice and crisp first. Then I go along the cuticle and sidewalls and make sure everything is blended very nicely and flush to the natural nail. Then I will work over the surface of the nail, making sure I blend from the apex down to the tip. I am smoothing out the surface of the nail and also thinning the tip at the same time, and that's just based on the angle that I'm holding my file. I'm basically, from the side view, you can see where that stress point is. I'm holding my file from the stress point angled down towards the tip, and that will help leave the bulk of the product in that stress area while reducing the amount of product at the tip. You can kind of see when I bring my hand forward, you can see the dark pink in that stress area and the light pink over the body of the nail, which shows you exactly where I am filing. Once I've gotten the tip thinned out the way that I like, I make sure I am blending the sides from the top of the nail down towards the side. I'm kind of rounding it out that way that there's no harsh lines or edges on the side walls. Even though these coffin nails have the very straight side walls, you don't want a straight edge along the side of the nail. You want it to round nicely up onto the top of the nail. And then once I get that all blended, I straighten out the tip and I will just lightly file over the apex and stress point area. And that way I made sure the whole nail is nicely blended and finish filed before moving on.
Here we go, it's all about you, it's all about me, it's all about what we do. Making art, you and me, trying to find something to believe. Because I'm running wild, I ain't running free. Still got a lot of shit left to see. I'm stuck in this town, and the town's stuck in me. Always trying to find another reason to leave, but we sit at home.
So for my French nails, I start just by making sure my lower side walls are nice and straight with my natural side walls and growth channels of my natural nail. And then I'm going to move in and use my e-file to reduce the bulk of that French that we built. You can absolutely do this with a hand file, but an e-file is much quicker, so I just prefer to do that. I'm going to use my medium 5-in-1 bit because it can go forward and reverse, and it just gives me it's a perfect bit for me to reduce the bulk, especially because polygel is such a soft material. So with barely any pressure at all, like honestly guys, not much pressure, and at a kind of medium speed setting, I'm going to work over right where the smile line is, where all the bulk of the product I had built up is. And as you can see, as I file that off, it just reveals such a crisp, beautiful, clean smile line, which you will see once I kind of dust it off and clean it up later on. But I'm basically just going to work over that area of the nail right where the smile line is to remove any excess bulk and make sure it is all nice and thin. I'm going to do the same thing on the thumb, just reducing the bulk, and then once I get that bulk all removed and I have a small enough amount that I can easily hand file, then I will move in and hand file the same way that I did on my other nail. But I just want you guys to watch as I go through and remove the excess product. Look and see how sharp the smile line is, how clean the French is. It's why I love the reverse French method so much. It just makes that deep French just gorgeous. And I mean, you can get any kind of French, no matter how shallow or deep you want it to be with the reverse method. But to me, it's just such a beautiful nail and much easier, much crisper than a traditional French method.
My old lovers fall into my covers, where they sink one by one. Yeah, I watch them disappear to nothing, disposable as chewing gum. There are deal breakers where I come from. My family don't suffer, fools glad they know. Do we kiss and lie in bed to fill awkward silences? Do we feel emptiness afterwards? 'Cause I want something deeper. If I'ma find a keeper, not saying I'm some genius, but I'm smart enough to know I'm worth fighting for. Yeah, I want something deeper. luggage like a bellhop. Yeah, I love a cry for help, but I'm tired of lying with liars. You're the truth, I'm scared to tell. There are deal breakers where I come from. My family don't suffer, fools glad they know. Do we kiss and lie in bed to fill awkward silences? Do we feel emptiness afterwards? 'Cause I want something deep.
Okay guys, I have gotten that all filed and refined. And you're going to see here, I'm going to cleanse my nails with some alcohol to remove all of the dust. Oh my gosh. It is gorgeous. Ah, you guys don't even know. I am so obsessed with how those French nails came out. Let me know what you think about them, because when I get that top coat on, oh, they're so pretty. And like I said, I don't wear pink often, but oh my gosh, guys, I did not mean to flip you off. I am so sorry. I didn't even realize it until I was in editing. I was like, oh, let me save the middle nail for last to cleanse it because it's so pretty. And then I held it up by itself thinking, oh, it's so pretty. And I swear I did not mean to flip you off. Sorry, guys. So now I'm going to top coat for the final reveal of these beautiful nails. I am so happy with how they came out. So pretty. Again, I just do need to say thank you to Makartt for sending this over, because I absolutely love this kit. The consistency was just spot on perfect for what I like to work with, and the colors are absolutely gorgeous. I didn't use that kind of berry color yet, so maybe I'll have to do another set and give that berry purple color a shot. I did top coat the glitter nails first because I was going to go in with some stamping on the lighter nail and the pointer. I was probably going to do some like lips or something, but after probably about an hour of trying to stamp, I gave up. I ended up ordering some stamping gel because I always have a fan going and stamping polish just does not work for me. I literally covered like 3/4 of that ring finger with little kissy lips, and yeah, by the time I went to stamp on the tip, it started removing the ones that I had previously stamped down. I was pissed. So I said, forget it. I gave up. They're pretty enough on their own, and I just went ahead and top coated them.
Singing my favorite songs, crying for no reason. But when you came to me, I will be gonna miss, and I'm missing you.
So we've got the top coat all applied. I'm going to go ahead and finish with a final cure of 60 seconds, and then we will apply our cuticle oil and give that a nice rub in and finish that off. That's it, guys. Let me know what you think of the set down below. I love them so much, and I hope you guys do as well. Of course, as always, if you have any questions, suggestions, or requests for different sets, let me know down below. I love to hear from you. Be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.